So I'll start with it. It's a grant agreement with Office of State Lands and Investments. And I guess 2 years ago, the legislature appropriated money for clerk's offices to make implementation changes. We had to start reporting all of our data of what was recorded to Wyoming Office of Homeland Security. They appropriated funds to help with that, but it didn't cost us anything to change it. Now OSLI is pushing these agreements out to at least secure the money. So then it's secured for 2 years. So should we need a programmatic change, it's available. I just have to submit a plan to them how to use it. If we don't have a programmatic change, I'm just going to say that it was increased staff time, and there you go. Converse County came up with a pretty good plan, so I'll just probably copy what she did.
Very good.
How much is the grant for?
Like just shy of 11,000.
It's very vague,
Yeah, oh man.
very vague.
Vague?
Yeah.
It's got the boilerplate stuff of a state agreement. It basically just says this funding is secured. If you want to use it, submit a plan. Willows approves it. There you go.
Yeah. That's a lot of money to pay to make sure you have a friend to talk to.
Yeah. So it would just be a motion to approve a grant agreement with Wyoming Office of State Lands and Investments.
I move to create a grant agreement between Wyoming Office of State Lands and Investment in Platte County.
Okay, it's been moved and second to approve a grant agreement between the Wyoming Office of State Lands and Investment and Platte County. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next one's a request of Mona. Her office administers a child support program. And so she asks that you all approve the agreement so that she can continue to do it. It's not a requirement of the office. It's a voluntary program for her to participate in, but she believes it's a community service that should continue in her office.
She's been doing this for quite a long time.
I would say so. Probably since the beginning. I bet she inherited it too.
So I would entertain a motion.
For the, I move to approve the agreement with DFS for the Chelsea. No wait, yes, that's one more time. Through Mona.
Yeah. Okay.
Mona through me. I move to approve the agreement with DFS for the Child Support Program.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the agreement with DFSS for the Child Support Program. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And a resolution, it's for election judge compensation. This is every 2 years. You have to approve it, but you don't have to approve it. The statute says you shall set the compensation for election judges in June. And what I'm recommending is that we stay with what we've done the past couple of election cycles, which is $15 per hour for election judges and $18 per hour for the chief judge. So at each polling place, I appoint one person to be the chief judge. And in years past, we were able to save a little bit because I used Lisa Glover in Wheatland. Obviously, I won't be able to use Lisa this time because she's a candidate. And so I'll have to appoint somebody as chief judge at the Agriplex, but I would ask for the same that has been the last few cycles.
I'd move to adopt Platte County Resolution 2826-8 for setting election judge compensation.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2026-08, setting election judge compensation. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
So I'll have to appoint judges by June 30th. And then in my notice to them, I have to include the compensation, then they have to send their acceptance back in writing. And I told the parties, I think I told them 77 is the number I needed.
77 judges.
Yeah. And this year, we'll have a hand audit, post-primary and post-general. And I anticipate I'll need about 8 folks to do that.
How are you gonna find 8 folks that can count?
And consistently and reliably will be the question, but we have 9 days to complete it post-election, which won't be an issue here, so.
Maybe we can get our newest library board member to volunteer.
Hey, there you go.
She can count.
She can count.
And then on that train of thought, on the election budget, of course, this is cyclical. 1 year it's higher, 1 year it's lower, and you can probably guess why. So the only thing that's a little different this year, I'm breaking out ballot printing to try to more accurately track that cost. We used to just lump it in supplies along with this software programming. So breaking those out by themselves. The ballot printing's a tough one. I have a feeling it's going to come in about half that. But that's when we used a printer here in town. Now that they've closed up, I've got 2 options. Either ES&S prints them, or we contract with somebody else to do it, which that's my preference. My third option was to buy the printer that the guy here used and just do them in-house. Then he sold it
No.
to a company in Torrington, so I'm gonna be in conversation with them potentially, and so I have to pay for those, obviously.
It's a good thought, though. Buy the printer.
I think long-term, that would save us a pile. And then we'd have a lot of flexibility in our office if that was the case. Like salary, that's the election judges, the rates that you just said. Mileage and expense, if they drive more than 10 miles round trip for any election-related duty. And then repair and maintenance, that's the annual licensing fee on the equipment for software and maintenance. And then, publishing, of course, I've got to publish 2 proclamations, 1 primary, 1 general. I used to do two runs in the Record Times, 2 runs in the Guernsey Gazette, because I thought it's important information to run multiple times. Statute says I have to do it once, so I'll run it 1 time in the Record Times. I'm still going to run it 1 time in the Guernsey Gazette, just to make sure that that information gets over to Guernsey as well. It does get pricey. So that 12,000 is for publishing primary and the general proclamations. The primary proclamation is going to be huge, because if you haven't seen the ballot language for the Citizens Initiative on the property tax, it's enormous. And so that's going to take quite a bit of space. In fact, I think we'll have to go to a 17-inch ballot this time. We've always operated on a 14-inch. This year, I think we're going to have to go to a 17, if not a 19.
Jeez, please.
So. Anyway. There's the election budget. And I will, I included it, so under repair and maintenance, I think I'll end up breaking out a separate line for vehicle repair. It goes back to our discussion in the planner. Our was what to do about repair and maintenance. So the licensing and the repair is about 11,000 a year. So I had 4 left over for oil changes, anything that happened. But I'll probably break that out elsewhere.
For licensing and repair of,
The equipment.
okay, the equipment, okay, yeah.
So, do you guys have any questions on the election budget?
I don't.
No,
I do bill out towns and special districts whose elections we do. And so roughly 1/3 of that will come back to us in acceptance agreements.
yikes.
Like the one in Glendale, that,
Well, Glendo has to bear that expense completely because they're the only ones for that election.
Okay.
But I bill towns and districts proportionate to how much ballot space they require.
Mhm.
So this year Chugwater's share goes down because they just have one race. Conservation districts goes up because they have two. And then, like school district just went up because they had somebody resign, so now they have another question for an unexpired term we have to put on there. We have a ton of unexpired terms to put on there. And you can actually go online. Potentially. You know, Evo Gov's had a couple issues. Well, either way, right on the front page, you'll see a thing that says election proclamation, for proclamation of primary election. You can see all the ballot questions for the primary on there.
I looked at that.
Yeah, and
It's not a 2-minute read.
no, and that's what we've got to put in the paper. Any questions?
No,
So what you're saying is it'll take longer to vote.
Well, first they gotta know how to read.
that's it, yeah, you're assuming a lot.
Yeah.
Anything else, Malcolm?
I don't think I'm good. I can change this now. Before I forget. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, according to this piece of paper.
I do have these, if you guys want to read those from earlier.
Okay, we'll move to the sheriff's budget discussion.
So I met with the sheriff's office, Friday of last week, I think, just to talk about what the recommendations are. And so I think their job's to advocate for their departments, right? And so they'll probably come in and ask you to reconsider a couple of things, which is totally fine. But what I did do, in your budget book, you have other sheets that show different divisions. So admin, sheriff, under sheriff, and then secretary, patrol. This is where you'd see the patrol captain and their associated deputies. One thing we talked about was this is not really just for SROs. This section is really for any deputy that's got some advanced skill. And
Mhm.
they'll be able to speak to that more clearly, but I do need to change this around just a little bit, so I might need to finagle some things, but what we'll need to know is a firm number on, so what the request was in short is you have your standard wage. If you're an instructor, you get $1 an hour to be an instructor. If you're some advanced deputy like an SRO, canine handler, drone operator, you get an additional $1. So it's a way of incentivizing folks to provide value to the department rather than just showing up. That's valuable, but there's other things they can provide that are valuable. And so I need to tinker with this a little bit, but that's their request. I think that one of the most crucial areas, and everywhere I focused on trying to get an increase, but percentage-wise, sheriff's deputies would have a higher increase because I think proportionately we are way behind even area law enforcement. So trying to make sure we can maintain some level of competition in terms of wage. And I think if you look dollar for dollar in their take-home pay at this level that we're recommending, it's comparable. And then, of course, on the detention side is where you see the captain, nurse. Their request was to go to 4 cooks as opposed to having a cook manager. And in their request, which I thought was excellent, they laid out an organization chart. So essentially, they'll have an admin sergeant who oversees nurse, nurse cooks, transport, things like that. It doesn't add any employees, it's just a reclassification of a secretary, is what we're doing. So start there with the sheriff's office. And then, of course, we have detention and dispatch, but on new equipment, similar to road and bridge, I did not recommend a vehicle for the sheriff's office. I did for detention, we'll cover that. But for the sheriff's office, one of the requests in our impact assistance funds is for a vehicle. So should that proceed, then we'll amend the budget or look at fiscal year 28 for that vehicle. In the detention department, I did recommend a van. I felt like that was kind of the highest equipment request in terms of need, but it also will pay for itself.
In transport.
So the sheriff's office will take the hit on the patrol vehicle this year in order to get that vehicle on the detention side.
So you're trading a patrol for a detention, basically.
So that $116,000, that's for that taser payment. Remember, we lumped them all into one contract. So taser, cameras, everything's in one contract now. And that's that annual payment. Which year one, remember, we had to increase 15,000, but over the
Yeah.
10-year period, it should save us.
Just one thing on that, if we add one to that van, we'll have to add that camera and that, there'll be a second one for that.
So, do you wanna go to detention and dispatch, or just tackle one at a time?
Let's just do this one while we're here.
So what are your thoughts? Do you disagree with any of the recommendations?
Now, our main goal this year, I think, was salaries, obviously, to get those bumped up, get us in a more competitive starting wage. We just lost another one to a Guernsey for pay reasons, because the number's higher, even explaining to him that it's not any higher, they don't understand that. So, we struggle there a little bit, trying to make a plan, I think, over the next several years to start pushing that up a little bit and trying to get it more competitive. You know, we can't do it all at once and only got so much to work with, right? But trying to at least think of it as a 4 or 5 year plan instead of a all right now. If we do it all right now, then it seems like it goes stagnant, right? And then we sit for 4 or 5 years, and the guys that come in after that don't remember the big raise that we get, and then they leave because they haven't seen nothing. So I'd rather step it out and increment it and move everybody up as we go, instead of just dumping it all in one spot.
And on top of that, when we have people that are leaving, I mean, their top thing is pay. It's not, you know, it's not the,
They love the work.
yeah, it's not the work environment, it's financial, you know, and even, we even dive in those conversations with them. It's their responsibility as adults with how they spend their money or save it and things right, so.
That's a very hard conversation to get through.
Right, and so, yeah, and that's the thing, you know, I think that we've all discovered in these respective positions is having those conversations, but at the same time, that just ends up being the number one thing, that when somebody comes to verbally tell us, or they, you know, slide a letter across our desks, it's wherever they're going, whether they're staying in law enforcement, like our most recent one that's gonna go travel Guernsey, or completely getting out of it. I mean, their first thing out of their mouth is pay, so. I mean,
It was in his resignation letter.
and so when we discussed this and kind of built this out, I mean, this was also inquiring of course, surrounding agencies, understanding that we can't compete with some like Converse, right? But then also looking at agencies throughout the state, understanding, you know, their department size, you know, understanding what resources, what money they're bringing in as well. And so trying to not just throw numbers together, but truly looking at our surrounding areas, because that's who we always battle with, right? For people is our surrounding counties, and then looking at as the state as a whole. So that's where those numbers have.
Another goal with it was to try to separate the top from the bottom a little bit, to give some incentive to maintain. The more you do, the more we'll pay you. The more you're useful to me, the more we'll pay you.
Well, showing that they need to get that longevity with us, right? Like to get to that professional cert, I mean, they gotta get up to, you know, what, 4-year mark.
And the biggest one for us was the initial certification, going from a temporary to the basic. We've struggled with getting people in the academy, getting them to stay there get through that physical fitness part of it and stay, so that $2 increase immediately, I hope is a little more of an incentive than 50 cents. You know, like, all I gotta do is get through this damn physical and then we're good to go, you know?
Yeah.
You get $2 an hour right out the gate. And then we step up a little bit from there, but that was the big one. That's a big achievement to get them certified and keep them here. So that was,
And on
I
top,
wanna
and on
reward
top of
that.
that, the academy is, for years now, has turned into like a job fair. We send people
Yeah.
up,
Yes.
and then they find out what they can make somewhere else, and then that person that they're in class with goes back to their agency and says, hey, so then their agency's coming down and poaching while they're still in the academy underneath our name, you know, so
Yes.
having, again, hopefully having a little bit of that competitive streak back with us.
So
And I
then-
know you guys have had numerous conversations with many of them, because, you know, here's our wage, and, you know, here's what we do for retirement, and here's what we do for insurance, but they can't take the retirement and the insurance to Safeway, you know, and buy groceries or pay rent or something like that. And you guys have done everything you can to try to make them see the whole package, but bottom line is, what's my paycheck?
unfortunately with the retirement there is a huge benefit and you guys paying all of it. Like, end of the day, our take home's the same, whether we're paying that 10.8% and you gave us that money.
But they don't
or
have
you
it
pay
right now.
But I still wouldn't get it, even if you increased my pay by
That's
that
right.
10.8% that you're paying for us. I still gotta give it back to somebody else.
That's right.
So I always try to tell everybody, like, you get offered $26 an hour to go somewhere else, and we just take an even 10% off of that. You can make $2.60 less an hour with us and still put the same exact money in the bank.
Mhm.
So it helps, but they don't seem to understand that. They see that number and they'll understand it when they get their first paycheck, right?
Plus
But-
they
Yeah,
get-
but that's
plus
just
they
their
get
focus.
You guys.
So, I mean, they just don't, they can't comprehend that that's a thing. Well, they'll pay health insurance, and it's like, well, we pay a huge portion of that too, and I guarantee the couple hundred you're spending on the health insurance is far less than the 10% out of your paycheck for the retirement. So just because they pay the rest of that $200 of the health insurance that we don't cover, you're going to lose that and more by paying your retirement.
I'm just really hopeful that in the next 12 to 24 months that we won't have to have this kind of
So, and I guess
conversation.
to
That's
touch
what
on
I'm
that,
hopeful for.
the
Because it's
instructor
stressful
stuff.
for you guys, you know, to have to say, well, I had another one quit, now I gotta go back on to find somebody else, and now I'm down to in detention, you know, that kind of thing.
It's a perpetual training cycle that we have and we can never get.
And you burn your FTOs out, you burn
Yes.
your people out, and then they don't wanna do it anymore, and they're looking at other jobs, and then
Say burn your admin out, as, you know, I think all of us have got shift work and we're all working night shifts, you know, in the next couple of weeks, and it's like,
I'm just really hopeful we don't have this conversation in 12 or 24 months, I really and truly
And I
am.
think we're making headway on it at this point. I just,
we are. And I think the biggest portion on me is, you know, yeah, price of everything's gone up, wages stayed the same, we can't continue to work with that, and I know it's hard because frankly, money's not coming in, how are you supposed to pay people? But also my promise to these guys and to the county is that we wanna hire good quality people, we wanna hire people that are gonna be a good fit. And a lot of the time, those people are just gonna look at that initial on, you know, the website and say, well, you can't do $19 an hour.
And on top of that, that's one of the biggest things, like when we put out the job postings or we put out the flyers on social media, like I personally myself, like I've yet to really discover a way of how we can promote our environment. Because again, that's what people are not living because of the environment. I just spoke with a guy today, a previous employee that went to adjacent county and he's making a lot more. And I was talking today and asking how he was, and I mean, I have in a text message, he was like, man, if Platte County paid more, he goes, I'd be back in a heartbeat, just because of the environment, but because of the money that he's making, that's strictly, I mean, so he's still even understanding, he's making more money, he checked that box, but the environment feature of the agencies we're getting now, he truly misses that down here, you know, so again, that's something I think that we're kind of at that point. Again, you guys have acknowledged, we've had those discussions. We tried to math the math with all these people, you know, that we've lost or incoming and keeping and things like that. And to retain, again, the environment portion, I think we're pretty steady on and people enjoy it. And then when we try to really hang on to that and continue to encourage and, you know, nurture that, this is kind of like almost that last entity of like, if we could get that with that environment, I think, I mean, as Undersheriff talked with you guys, you know, earlier this morning on the Indeed stuff, I mean, we're starting to get a lot more applications, that'd be a lot more out of state. I mean, finally, instead of just having that one person every month or 2 months, now it's like, oh, we actually have some options. We have a pool. It's starting to get a little deep. It's a good feeling, you know, so.
No, to go back to that this morning when you couldn't be here, you know, I just had a question about, and where it came from was the pod rental
Mhm.
and how it affected the marshal holds and so forth and so on. And these guys kind of answered that this morning because I just, you know, I look at those numbers and I see what they are, and I know you guys are doing, you know, what you can do through, you know, the feds and this and that and whatnot, but I didn't understand all the constraints, and they made that crystal clear this morning. Okay, if you got a sex offender, you can't put this guy in there with that and so forth and so on.
So there's,
And I knew that pod rental had something to do with those numbers.
so there's two things that's going on right now with the federal agencies. Tony and I had a meeting with Robert McMasters out of Cheyenne the other day. We had lunch with him. The AU is not prosecuting cases, right now, not a lot of cases. He's new. I don't know if it's a timid thing. I don't know the ins and outs of it. Without him prosecuting cases, they're not indicting federal inmates. So if they're not indicting federal inmates, we're not giving them homes. That's part of the problem. Problem number
Attorney,
two.
our federal attorney,
Yeah.
imagine that.
So I don't know if it's him or his underlings. I don't know how it works. I'm not going to comment.
Right. Hey, look at you being safe.
The other side is, during that discussion, I think Tony didn't remember the entire discussion, but if we had two transport teams, McMasters did say that we would house more Cheyenne holds up here as well. Instead of using Scotts Bluff, we'd have some of their holds to be able to go both ways.
Do you want the guys they were sending to Scotts Bluff?
Not all of them, some of them are bad.
So does Scotts Bluff have more than one transport team?
They have a Cheyenne team, and then they have a team that goes to, I believe he said South Dakota, Iowa,
People straight north.
so North Dakota, and into Montana.
And we
So-
just have one team,
We have one team.
and they don't usually go.
We don't usually go south. If we go south, it's for Northwest shuttles, and that doesn't pay anything. That's a whole different ball game. It's something that has been in place for a long time that we've tried to pull out of, and we're not allowed to, I guess, so. But if we had two transport teams like we used to run when we had Bernie and Jim, and then we had the other guys running north and south, I mean, I wouldn't say we would double what we're getting, but
There's an increase.
there's an increase. And I wouldn't say it would take effect right away. It would be a transition. It'd probably be a year or two before we would see an increase like revenue on it, but eventually we would have an increase in revenue on it. So it's something that I'm gonna try to consider over the next probably 2 years of trying. I'm gonna push for another transport team.
Which would mean a whole nother transport vehicle.
Well, I think that we could do it with the 3 transport vehicles.
You think we got enough to?
I think we do. So we've got 3 Suburbans, and with this new one, I think we'd be fine.
So you just need 2 more guys.
I think so. We'd have to eventually probably rotate in another Suburban, and we'd figure that into that, but
Realistically, you just wear them out twice as quick, because they're built both be running all the time.
yeah, we'd have one
Instead
going
of
north, one
alternating.
going south.
So right now, we run one, when they start running it, they run it to an oil change. They'll take it in for the oil change and they jump in the other one. And then they'll run it till the oil change, so the one comes back, it'll set. And it'll be our spare or our extra, and it only gets used periodically. But the steady one's the one that, they run it for 5,000 miles each time. And that's trying to keep them staggered in mileage, so we don't get them both on the same year again.
Yeah.
Where we have to try to buy 2 in 1 year, we can stagger them out for a year now and 1 next year. And so they're not just getting one run to death and one new one sitting on the lot.
On the other side of that, Cheyenne does their initial appearances and a lot of their indictment stuff, not indictments, but their initial appearances, and some of their court is done through that video classroom that we had built during COVID. So we wouldn't be running them specifically down for those appearances. So that would take some of the mileage and time off of that.
Malcolm, is the revenue from the transport separate, or is it all lumped into one?
It's in one, we could separate it.
We could,
We
I think I had
separate
it separated out when I submitted it to
And
you.
that might be good to do, so if we do consider that, we'd know.
We broke it down in one of them for, what we brought in for mileage cost and then what we brought in on pay reimbursement.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, when they report it to
I know it's reported that way, but
Christie's office, we'll just set up a line item that, on the revenue side, that put it in different buckets.
You can look at it in a year or
but
two.
last night, it reports it as transport, so.
But it's another
Separate from
another avenue for us, maybe bring some more funds into the county. But that is one thing you said, if we had two transport teams, he'd like to house District of Wyoming, inmates in Wyoming, and we're the only long-term housing facility for the entire state for the US Marshals.
And we're right in the middle of both federal courthouses, right?
I mean, it's 45 minutes to Cheyenne to their courthouse, an hour and 15 to the one north, so.
So there's two revenue lines in this budget that make me a little nervous, and we're hitting on the one, which is the federal holds. You see I increased it by 200,000. And that roughly covers not quite, but it's close to covering the raise in the sheriff's office. So my worry was if we don't get to 30 a day, we will be shy of that.
Yes.
If we're at or above 30, we'll be fine. Not a ton over, but we'll be fine. And so the question would be degree of confidence that it gets to 30 or higher. And
So you have the actual to date for this year?
And then I did send out an email now that pod's nearly complete, this afternoon when I came on duty, to let them know that pod is open. and everything.
Vacancy flashing something?
Yeah, it's the hotel's open, we've got one.
New accommodations, no crayons.
Like I said, when I talked to McMaster's, I think it was last month that Tony and I had that meeting with him. The AUSA has got to start prosecuting.
So our projected last year was 780,
Mhm.
and we're at 1.2.
Yep.
Almost 1.3.
And that's why if at 30 a day, we land almost smack dab on $1 million. So if the census is greater than that, which it has been, of course.
At that rate that you negotiated a year ago?
Yeah, so it went
Or
from
less than
$72 a day to
like
$93 a day.
Yeah.
For like 5 years.
Not at my fingertips, but when Christie and I discussed this, it is, in 20, it went over $1 million, and it's been over $1 million every year since. And so, on Friday, I just asked the question, point blank, degree of confidence. They gave me confidence to continue ahead with this number.
So what you're telling me is there's no shortage of criminals?
There's not.
People are making no job security.
They enjoy the Platte County food that much.
People are breaking.
That continental breakfast, lunch, and dinner really gets them.
But I will say, in those years where we had those overages and what we anticipated and what we actually collected, it allowed us to do things like buying I think we bought 3 or 4 vehicles somewhat on a whim, and it's because we had that extra, right?
But-
And so, as we crowd that number, we may not be able to do some of those things, but it was in an effort to try to get increases for deputies.
But if it does exceed that, then we can look at other pod fixes.
Right.
As they come down the road, as opposed to, appropriate money for vehicles and let that kind of pan out like it does. But, there's probably other
Mhm.
places that, need a little TLC also.
I'll continue to work on it, it's not gonna go on the wayside,
Right.
so.
Numbers go up, so does like board of prisoners and that kind of thing too.
Right.
Because it is a bed and breakfast type
Yep.
operation, isn't it?
When we track that there's going to be expenditures, we'll have to amend. Prisoners is one which we'll end up calling inmate nutrition, we'll go to that in a minute, but the other one was the maintenance line. So you guys, last budget, made the decision, we'd assess in December and January where we're at with our federal inmate holds. We were on track, so you authorized a pod reno. And I think we'll have to do something similar in his coming budget. And now I think Jim's budget discussion is the next meeting, but I think he's got a better grasp on what it will take and how to make it more seamless. So,
Meaning less downtime?
yeah, I think, like anything,
With
first time to do
discussions
something.
with- I think it'll be streamlined and less issues.
I call it downtime.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a faster from start.
Because at X amount per head per day, if that thing doesn't have, somebody behind those doors, it adds.
All right, now we're getting into my area of expertise. Let's go.
So,
Let's start talking rate of gain.
Yeah, that's right, I know. We cost a gain and we get 10 cents an inmate a day, all right. Let's bring in 5,000 of
You
them.
weigh these guys when you bring them in.
You come in and you watch them on
It's
the
like cattle,
camera.
right? Except the midweek.
Yeah, it's like feeding them grain right before you take them to the cell barn.
I know. And with that, I will say that buying a truck is never penciled. So, but it seems like transporting people does. My cattle pod never pencils. But
on the detention budget, you'll see that we renamed Board of Prisoners to inmate nutrition, just to make it clear that that line only goes towards food. That's it.
yeah,
And it was kind of a goal this year was to try to limit some of those line items, make them a little more clear what they could or should be used for.
I went directly through this, through our expenditure report, and every item that came out of this line item was Board of Prisoners, minus the contract that we had signed for the fingerprint machine that we approved through the meeting when we had to do that, was food items.
So then in the actual for 24-25, did that include something else?
So we had that 4,000 whatever for the fingerprint machine.
So he's talking
contract.
just because it was so out of whack. No, that's what happened. That's just because we had a huge number of inmates.
As
So
our
we
federal
were-
inmates go up, our food costs will go up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that one's up and it's up and down.
So hopefully that one's fairly proportional to what we're holding and what we're bringing in.
Yes.
So
But the revenue didn't have that up and down quite like that, did it?
Yeah, I think the revenue was pretty high that year.
yeah.
Was it?
Tony, I had to shift gears a minute. On your vehicle repair line, your expenditures in 24-25 were right at 71. Budget 25-26 is 25. You're requesting 45. What was the thought that went into those?
So on that's where, when we had to cut last year, that was a line item that I think was just an easy out to cut and basically no, you can't say no to when we get to it, right? I went through our expenditures for this year and it takes right at 45,000 a year to maintain our fleet, oil changes, windshields, tires, brakes, just the necessities of
On the
them.
mechanical side, not the body
That
side.
does not include any unforeseen issues such as accidents,
Uh-huh.
body repair, totaling vehicles. That's probably where that 71,000 came out, is when we had the two total vehicles, and I think we had several crashes that year that definitely hurt us.
And they went into that number, right?
In the 45, no, that is what it takes to maintain our fleet.
Yeah, but that,
70.
the crash,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
okay,
that's where that all comes from.
okay.
Um,
Because that's a big variance.
And when I went
was
through the
wondering why.
last 2 years, I took all of that out again, because they're not, we can't plan for those, we don't know what those look like, and I wanted to put a number on there that showed what it costs us realistically
Yeah.
to maintain a fleet.
Right.
As far as, that doesn't include any engine issues, if we have to replace engines, transmissions, and things like
And
that, and
how many total vehicles is that?
14,
But that doesn't count the detention.
no, that's a different line item.
And when
So
you,
that's strictly the patrol fleet.
when you look at their message, honestly, this is the best budget request message we've ever gotten from the sheriff's office. And one thing that really stood out was there was an inventory of vehicles and they gave the current mileage at the day that they submitted this, and obviously those only go up, right? So, I thought it was interesting to see what high mileage we're working on some of these.
Right.
So something that we're trying to do is mitigate some of those costs. We've got tire contracts now that, they're all on a government pricing. We put it up for a bid at one point, and they all come back within $5 or $10 of each other total cost. Oil changes, that's gonna be another big one that I wanna discuss this year on how we handle that. And there's ability to buy them in a contract package where we can buy like 10 oil changes at a time. We're currently spending right at $100 a car for an oil change.
108.
$108 a car for an oil change singly. And then we had done the contract pricing previously, and then we had kind of touched on that road and bridge idea and doing those things and having them start to change oil. So we let all these contracts expire and didn't renew them, so we weren't double buying, or if we could save money, I didn't want to keep going. So we're sitting at a single menu price oil change across the board right now, and they're $108 a car. If we buy them in a 10 oil change package, which you're looking at 50,000 miles a car, basically is what 10 oil changes will get you. If we buy 2 of those contracts per car, say, you're looking at $60 an oil change. I mean, that's a savings of $40, $400 a car.
And that's at the dealer.
Mhm.
Have we ever thought about going out to like Allen's Parts or some of these?
We
guys?
had done some stuff with Allen's, and we struggled getting them in and out of there. They would have them forever, they wouldn't get them done. Getting them scheduled in was,
And what I was thinking is if we
costly.
had some kind of a, like bid request
Right.
proposals.
and that's something we can look at, is trying to contract it or bid it to some guys or see what we can do.
Yeah, there's several.
Currently, the thought behind the way we have been doing it is they're under warranty up there. They were doing the oil and we could do it competitively. They're on the same tire contract with them dollars. Everything could go there for the brakes, the tires, the oil. Everything gets done in one place, so the guys don't have to go get the oil change here and then make sure it gets over here to get tires rotated, because that's all included in that oil change.
Yeah,
So, and when we buy the tires through there, they'll do the tire rotation, so everything, it's just like a one-stop. It's convenience, I guess, more than
See,
anything.
the contract thing protects you against what's going on in the Middle East right now, because I read an article yesterday about the price of synthetic oil.
Mhm.
And that synthetic oil in the last 3 weeks has came up 44%. So if you're contracted ahead of time, they eat it.
Correct.
You don't.
So, I mean, that's something we can look at, to push out elsewhere. I don't know if there's any other businesses
It's a small thing.
that have the
But it's
ability
not a
to
small
do a contract price on oil and things like that. But the convenience of having the oil and the tires and the maintenance all in one spot is super convenient, because we've kind of set it up with them that they know that when the brakes get to a certain level, we have to have brakes. They can go ahead and put the brakes, they stock the parts to have the brakes, so we're not out another vehicle. And they're always checking a lot of these things to keep us moving.
And say,
Any large repairs, we get a call and get a thing on, but they know that there's certain places, and we've had a good discussion on it, on what the tires need to look like before we replace them, what the brakes need to look like before we replace them. And we can just, they drop them off, the guys don't have to keep track of their brakes.
so you got like an open PO amount with them, an open purchase order amount that said if it's this and you find this, you're
If they
good.
drop it off and they need brakes, they'll usually send me a text and say, hey, this one's gonna need brakes. Okay,
Okay.
cool, let's do
Okay.
it. But it's not that they're doing it on their own, it's just that they know,
yeah.
That's where I was
we wanna
going.
know when they get to a certain level.
Yeah.
Cause we were having issues
They know
with
the expectation.
the pickups at one time where we'd take them in for an oil change and have what they would consider like for a normal wear and tear vehicle, adequate brakes to make it to the next oil change. That's not the case for us. And we were always burning up rotors and causing more issues, so then we were double the money on brakes because we burn too much stuff up, and frankly, half the guys we have don't understand that mechanical side of things. They don't get it, they run it till it makes noise and then it's broken, can they have it fixed? So I'm trying to get ahead of that, and we've learned over time that these are what we need. If it's this low, it won't make it to the next oil change, there's no way, let's get them changed now. So we're not tearing them up and we can save some rotors, we can save some things.
Maintenance versus broken.
And so then,
Well, one thing that's beneficial is like when we started to get all these new Durangos, and I don't know if it was a warranty thing for the, coolers or what was it?
oh, that recall on the
I mean, it
transmission
was,
cooler?
granted, it was a recall thing, but we had one of the newer Durangos right out of the pipe was having issues. So right out of the way, because it was through the dealership, they were aware of it, they pulled all of us in before the rest of our Durangos were having that issue, so it was that preventative, because it was going through them, they already had the parts on, so. And then, of course, he gets all the receipts, Stacy gets all the receipts, so then there's almost just like that booklet for each vehicle of everything that's went through, and so then we can also hold our guys accountable, being like, you guys all drive the same Durangos or the same Tahoes, but man, yours over here is constantly in, we need to talk about you.
Man, you owned
and
up 3
tearing
set
up
of
your
pants
vehicle.
and this dude went through 1.
Right, things like that, so
Yeah.
that helps with having that historical log for
Oh,
each
yeah.
vehicle of making sure that our guys are also.
So we're trying to mitigate that cost, but I think it's gonna be one that's never going to go away realistically. We're hard on stuff, the job's hard on stuff. I think I have a line on a windshield thing to do glass that may save us some money. We haven't had one that's needed one, so we're gonna try it out and see how that goes. And then maybe that can be pushed in, but I think we can save some cash there, for those portions of it, so anywhere we can save it, we're making an effort to do it. We were paying like $1,200 a set of tires, we're down in depends on what vehicle it's for, $600 to $800 a set now. So I mean, we've cut that quite a bit, and so that's probably where that 71,000 is kind of coming in, is where we weren't paying government contract pricing, and we weren't getting all of those things, and now we are. So
Yeah.
we've tried to cut it the best I can, but there's certain things that just, it doesn't seem like it matters,
But you're taking the prudent steps to get as far as you can go.
right?
That's the way I see
And I
it.
mean, I could sit down probably and figure out about average, how many oil changes we need a year, based on how many guys we have and how many. I guess that's something else to think about on this last year's one too, is we didn't have the patrol staff we had in that one too, so. It's all an up and down thing, I think, based on how much you're getting used, and 40 will be tight, and we'll just have to make conscious decisions with it, but, I mean, like I said, not gonna cover any transmissions or engines or any of those large repair orders, but I think that's something that needs to have a bigger discussion than just burning the money anyway. Because we get to a certain point with the vehicles, is it beneficial to put $12,000 in a motor? Or is it beneficial to take that 12,000 and move it into something newer? Are we just chasing more problems? Did we pay $12,000 to have 20,000 in other issues, or are we digging ourselves a hole with fixing certain ones? So I think that's where I didn't add any of that in. I wanted to have that as a separate discussion. And if we need those things or that need arises, we can sit down and we can go through those things and decide what the beneficial movement from there is. Not just have it to where we're just throwing money at stuff that isn't working.
Anything else on that one, Malcolm?
So in detention, I think you did a nice job, really nice job on medical care. We've got to figure out a long-term solution here. And really in their message, the goal over the next year is to establish what that scope is and what a provider, however that works. Is it somebody in-house? Is it contracted? Defining that scope this year as to what care needs to be provided. And at the end of that year, being able to put out RFPs or job descriptions, whatever it ends up being, to make sure we have a good long-term solution on medical care. Because right now, I can't say we have that.
So if you look historically at any jail in the United States, your lawsuits for your jail is gonna come from medical care. Look at Hayes, look at the current one that we're going through right now, with Bailey and the feds. We had more than just a nurse. We had a medical provider, we had a RN, LPN, even if it's a nurse practitioner that oversaw the program. And then we had an RN that worked for her, or if we contracted it out, that takes a lot of the liability off the jail, especially with the contract. They hold the liability then. So that's something, I know Cody has been working, I mean, with what his wife does, he took that on and has looked into that. If we can get somebody, Core Health or any of the other contracted medical providers to come in, it's expensive, it's not cheap. I mean, you're looking, I think, what is it, 4 million,
About $1 million a year.
about $1 million a year to contract medical care. I pushed through the marshals to try to get it, the way our contract reads is whatever the jail provides. They're not putting any more into it, they're not taking any more out of it. I've asked, they're just not gonna budge on it. DC is not moving on that. It's been,
And I think going off of that too, with that, even going down this rabbit hole and asking the marshal some of the questions, I've interpreted that they've never been asked these questions before. That there's so much that this item has not really ever been brought up to have that extended conversation. So as what Will was mentioned, the reason that I kind of took this on really is just a scope of what my wife does as being a family nurse practitioner for Wheatland, but she has a secondary job where she works for a company. She is contracted out through a company called Core Health. What they do is they provide medical management to detention centers. They're based out of Texas. So Albany County Sheriff's Office actually just re-entered into I believe it was a 4-year, $4 million contract. So that'd be that million years where we're pulling that number from with Core Health. And then Core Health has hired her as the contracted nurse practitioner. Otherwise, so she's just basically a 1099 employee for them. Otherwise, they have full-time registered nurses that are Core Health employees that oversee the entire medical care. Their hours are about 6 a.m. to, I want to say, about 10 p.m. They have all their policy and procedure. Again, all the liability falls on them. They have all their rules and responsibilities of what to follow, and then they let my wife know, if something is severe, and then she makes those medical calls as needed for scripts, or if they need to go to the hospital. But there's always just that constant, liability is always with them. Just being that outsider looking in and watching her do it, she's been doing it for 4 or 5 years now. It's worked pretty flawlessly, to where that's like, again, where I kind of took this on, because I've been able to see that side of it, to where, called Goshen County, they kind of run theirs more as an actual county employee, called like Natrona County. Natrona County, I think they have a great system. All their stuff's in-house. Everybody in their medical station and field are all county employees. Second to their actual salary budget, the next most expensive line item is their medical. Again, Albany County has Core Health. Laramie County was using Core Health for years. I know with Sheriff Kozak, they went to a completely different company, haven't really got a good word on what they're doing. I've spoke with other gals that I know have done some contract stuff through like Sheridan County, just to try to see who the players are out there. Will and I still have to sit down with this gentleman that owns Core Health that my wife does the 1099 through, and I kind of want to just chat with him, let him know about Platte County, kind of let him know what we do, what we're looking at, kind of, and then it sounds like he's on board to at least build a proposal of some type and kick that to us to see what we're looking at. So
Does inmate count drive the number as far as what they, million a year for Albany County and so forth done, but does inmate count?
probably have to be a question that we ask him in that meeting.
that'd be something
I would imagine that at a level it does, because it's gonna dictate how much staff
right.
that they're required to provide.
And I would follow through with saying that, like I said, just bringing in the personal aspect of what I watched my wife go through. She will have times where Albany County has an influx of incarcerations to where she'll see 8 to 12 in a day, and then just this last Friday she saw 3. So her numbers are always cycling. So I would think that number would probably play into it as well. So
And part of that contract, it includes them managing the nursing staff. That means they hire them, they find them.
they hire them, they train them, they hold them accountable, they write them up, they fire them. It's all through. If we outsource it, it's that company owns the medical portion.
They
Therefore,
contract
it's
to
their
provide
responsibility.
a set amount of people, and it's on them to find them and get them here.
And so another example with that, using, so bear with me, just using Core Health as an example, as that contract company. If they end up losing an employee or something like that, they have, like a lot in the medical field, they have like a lot of rover employees that'll come and do like 6-week stints. So they get a lot of that too, but they, again, all that falls on them to manage it, right? And find that takes and alleviates a lot from us. The biggest thing again is the money portion, is being able to finance and pay for it. But as Will was saying, and as I've seen in my position of sharing it with doing the detention stuff with Will, a lot of that, we've seen a lot more of the litigation side, a lot more of the lawsuit side, a lot more of the problems. And then again, just the self-learning and speaking with the other counties and understanding that's, again, their top tier. Item 2 is medical for inmates, whether, and I mean, and we're talking to guys, the other counties that they don't serve the feds, right? They're just talking to their local inmates. I mean, Albany County, they don't have any contracts for anybody. They don't serve the feds, ICE, anything. They're just CYAing for themselves in their own detention center, but their own local holds, so.
It's something that we wanna look at, and whether that's, we employ them like we do with the nurse now. But we need to have something in place, and that's what I'm working Cody and Malcolm on, RFPs, or if we're gonna look at a contract.
And that $1 million is kind of a mid-grade thing with our inmate count. It could be 650, 700, or it could be $1.1 million. We don't
I
know.
looked it up, you're looking at anywhere from 800,000 to about 1.5 million a year.
That's a big window.
So it depends on the company. Some have got really good reviews, some have really poor reviews, some have high litigation in courts, some have no litigation in courts. Like, it just depends. And it's all something that we're gonna have to look at when we get to that point. So if we keep it in-house, we'd have to have a salary budget for the nursing staff and the medical provider and a bunch of other stuff. Or if we outsource it, then we'd have one budget just for the contract. It's how we have to look at it in the long run, but it's something that's needed to be done for a long time. Currently, a medical provider, we were looking at it was gonna be really good. We dropped the ball with him with the sheriff thing that happened last year. It just kinda got pushed to the wayside. We didn't push forward with it, but I would say that our litigation line item that we've had to now put in there for lawsuits and stuff, I think that would stay there, but I don't think we would wind up using it as much. If we had somebody that actually, a doctor that these inmates could see, they're not waiting 3, 5, 6 weeks to get into a provider around town, we're not transporting them to the providers. They'd go to the dentist and that'd be it. We'd have somebody come in to see them in-house.
So basically, they get better care than our citizens get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is terrible to say, but we're not out
Which is-
$250,000 when we
which
don't
is
get
hard
it
to-
into the doctor.
Say your taxpayer.
So it's 6 one way, half a dozen the other. We either do it and pay out later when they slip and fall in the shower and they sue us for that because they don't get seen right away, or taken to the ER, don't report it, or it's just, that is gonna be your highest litigation item out there is gonna be medical care. You can ask any sheriff in the US, that is what they're gonna tell you. And I think that we lacked that for the 16 years I've been here. We at one point ran 3 nurses. We had 1 full-time, 2 part-time at one point, and we had nursing care from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. You're taking a nurse, running her from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., and then you're putting all that on a deputy that doesn't know a Tylenol from aspirin or Tylenol from ibuprofen, and they're passing out medications, and the inmates are looking like, this isn't right. The deputy's looking at it like, I don't know what to tell you. I didn't fill the pouches, so
Well, right now, we do lack kind of that 2-step verification or authentication of like, this is the appropriate the appropriate bubble pack to the appropriate inmate, it goes in the cup to be distributed, it's the nurse setting it up, and there can still be errors.
People
with
make
that, and
mistakes.
people make mistakes. And again, I mean, our deputies, respectfully, they signed up to be deputies, so,
They're not doctors.
so.
And I, just bare bones with the whole thing, medical care, it will need to change whatever we do. I mean, you can't get an RN, LPN, anybody for the price that we're paying right now. And God bless Elsie, I don't know how many years she's been here, but she's been here since I've been here.
23 or 24 now.
So she's not gonna be forever, and finding somebody to take over for that, and also to have a provider to oversee that. I mean, it's gonna be something we're gonna have to look into and figure out how we're gonna do it. So I mean, whether we contract out, whether we hire, it's something we're definitely gonna have to put on the radar.
And we'll put the numbers together, present it to you guys. It won't be just a,
We understand it's gonna be
throw it
a
at you,
step
but-
process. And that's why when we spoke with Malcolm, of having that, kind of that 1.35 or 1.5, whatever year, you know, we know it's gonna be a gradual.
Yeah, well,
Still a lot of questions, still a lot of answers out there that we gotta figure out, so.
I mean, it's quite shocking going from 70,000 and saying, hey, how about $1 million, you know?
nothing like 1,000% increase, huh?
Yeah.
So, go to a different line that looks really weird is supplies, where I've recommended nothing. But I'll explain. So, I really appreciate the fact that we'll put together, in the detention budget, what all comes out of that supply line. What we're trying to work towards is figuring out what our daily cost per inmate is. So we can say it costs us an exact amount, right, as close as possible, in consumables, food, toothbrushes, toilet paper, all that stuff. Here's what it costs us per day to have you. And then, like the fact that you broke it out, toothpaste, $60 per case of 144, I anticipate ordering 10 cases. The one that was a little staggering for me, just as an aside, toilet paper, $82 per case of 48, I anticipate ordering 312 cases. Wow. But,
Food's good.
there you go, there's your story. How much toilet paper the detention center goes through. So, it'll be headline news.
That's clear.
So, I'm not recommending anything out of this supplies budget because I'm recommending we take it out of the inmate trust fund for this year. So in getting the van, that's a big ticket item. It's $120,000 for the van, the outfitting, everything. Because you've got to compartmentalize inmates, and so 50 of it came from supplies. Roughly 75 of it came from what we normally appropriate for a sheriff's vehicle. And so that's how I got to the point where I could pay for the van, but I'm going to need inmate trust to pick up the supply budget for a year to do it. Which, based off the balances, based off the anticipated revenue into it, that shouldn't be an issue.
What is the balance?
Off the top of my head, I don't know, but I can tell you very quickly.
And supplies are just an out-of-pocket
So,
cost, but that vehicle.
That van, while he's
can
looking
recover
that up,
itself.
the way I designed that was it's a 12-passenger van, kind of like what we have now. Has 3 compartments on it. We'd separate, we're not running 2 rigs if we have 6 inmates, so we're taking that away. Taking wear and tear off one vehicle and making it, or taking wear and tear off 2 vehicles and making it 1 vehicle. So we have to run immigration and US Marshals at the same time. We can run 12 people in 1 vehicle. That old van is pushing 190,000 miles. It's, needs front end work, needs a lot of work done to it. In the wind, it's all over the road, it's not safe, looking at it. We've had it since I've been there, I think it was nearly new when I got there, we were using it all the time. It's time for it to be replaced.
And just to jump in on that idea, we've talked about this, I don't know the feasibility of it, but county donating that to the VFW American Legion for their funeral services here in town, so they can transport their guys. I don't know if that's even something, just put on the radar if it's even possible. But I think it'd be a good show of solidarity and respect for that.
I think it's good.
But I think it takes fuel out of it, takes wear and tear off another vehicle. We're able to haul 12 at a time. So that's where that Axon, where Ward brought up that we're gonna have to increase, and Malcolm brought up the outfitting. So those cameras aren't cheap, but you can't see the inmates, so we're gonna have to have a way to watch them when they're back there. So it's I think it's 2 cameras that'll be back there, and then there'll be a screen up front that they can watch. I don't need lights, I don't need sirens, I don't need gun locks, keys, and a camera system. It's got HVAC into the back, so they're not gonna freeze going down the road, they're not gonna overheat, so we don't have that worry.
And on top of that, it's a purpose-built company that this is what they do. They design these, they build these, they make these, so it's not, we're just getting a bunch of crap together and making something that we hope works. It's actually a purpose-built by people that build them for a living.
They order the chassis, they have everything there, they put them together, it's delivered, ready to go. And it's
Very similar to an ambulance or a fire truck when they build those kind of thing. You get,
How they warranty those packages?
I'd have to look back on it, I don't have it with me.
Because your chassis may have a certain warranty, but they upfit.
Yeah, they should have the mileage warranty and everything on that, and I'm not sure what the compartment warranty is on it. I know I think those compartments are Havis, so whatever that warranty is, I don't know if they have one on those or not, so.
I think there's any kind of manufacturer defect warranties on them, but I don't know that there's anything much more than that. You know, we have welds break or things like that, then they'll warranty it, but not standard breakage, I guess.
Well, that's all manufacturer's warranties are, is defects in materials and workmanship when it's originally built, and then after that, it kind of goes.
What it is it's like a Ford cargo van with an insert. They insert it in, they bolt it down, they put the HVAC in it,
Mhm.
and seat belts. It'll be wired for Axon cameras, all you gotta do is put the camera in it and connect it to the screen. Would be all we have to do.
And it's an all-wheel drive van.
All-wheel
I mean,
drive.
so it's something like we can run year round. So, I mean, it can defeat the weather, you know, if it's down the road,
And
things
that's why
like
we
that.
put the Ford van over the ProMaster.
So I looked at Ram, I looked at Mercedes, and I looked at Ford. Chevy doesn't, they make one, but it wouldn't fit what we need. So the Ford has the EcoBoost V6 in it, all-wheel drive. And with the weight and everything and where we're at, they recommended that. The ProMaster was a rear-wheel drive. We had 6 inches of snow and everything with that is not gonna be conducive for going out in the winter time. So we weighed the options. Mercedes, they were significantly more expensive because of the little emblem on the front.
Mhm.
So,
Running a G-Wagon up and down the road.
so it'll look really
You
cool for Teton
transporting-
County, but we couldn't afford it, so
Yeah.
I had to, Ram was cheaper, but Ford was more.
Oh, hell, they just buy a helicopter. Who are we trying to kid? Like a van.
So Ford was more economical and more useful to us than Ram was, so.
You guys have put a lot of thought into it, for sure. How many miles do you think you can run one?
Those, I would say we could run them the same as the Suburbans or anything else, I think.
What is that, like 200?
Now, the one Suburban, I think is 100 and,
Yeah, they're in the, over the 100.5 mark.
yeah.
Probably pushing on the 200 when you'd wanna start getting them back. They don't get the wear and tear of patrol cars do, obviously, so
That's
you
all
can probably
highway
get about
miles.
double out of them.
And highway miles without pursuit
Yeah,
and
well,
hard
just,
braking and all that.
And the van is purposeful for 6 or more, 5 or more, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so.
So it's not gonna be going up and down the road all the time. We got
Right.
7 people we're
Absolutely.
taking it.
Yes.
And it mitigates again that 2 vehicles going up and down the road at the same time traveling in tandem. So you double your mileage, double your fuel.
Yeah.
Double your people, because marshals require 2 people per transport, so.
Mhm.
So Steve, to answer your question, roughly 86,000 is in inmate trust at the moment. So we have a,
Did the math, I think that's more than sufficient for this
Maybe.
budget.
the checking is to cover our obligations that are budgeted or foreseen, and then the savings is higher yield, obviously.
Yeah.
We have a couple of local banks that are really, really good working with us, so we're able to secure them at close to CD rates.
Yeah.
So roughly 86, and I anticipate roughly 50,000 in revenue into that line. So recommending
Solid.
using 50,000 of it in order to help us offset the cost of a van.
Okay.
Hey, another one, Tony, will be here in about 10 minutes.
That's what I was just looking at. I was looking over your guys' shoulder going, that looks pretty
Yeah,
black.
I was doing the same thing, and now the wind's coming up, and I'm thinking, oh, about 10 minutes.
Said pretty good hail coming up and building out of this one, and
Yeah,
I had a tornado touchdown southwest of Chugwater down county line. so-
today. Today or yesterday?
Today,
Today.
10 minutes ago or so.
Good luck. Sorry.
So we'll move on to dispatch so you guys can get out there.
Speaking of vehicles.
I know. Speaking of vehicle repair, those speed dents, it makes it go faster.
Speed dents.
Like golf balls go real fast.
Yeah, that's right. It's the golf balls have density.
Just get stickers that say Titleist and put on.
Titleist.
King.
So
Whichever.
Brought to you by Titleist.
dispatch, they're gonna have to speak to this one a little bit, but this needs a little bit of fixing too. With the realignment and the addition of a patrol captain, I shouldn't say addition, reclassification of an employee as a patrol captain. They would take on the 2 shift sergeants that are on the patrol division, plus the deputies, the SROs, and they would be responsible for the supervision of dispatch. And what that would eliminate is the need for a dispatch supervisor who's got higher fire authority. That would be vested in the patrol captain. And essentially what it would create is 2 sergeants in the detention, or in the dispatch division. Basically, A shift and B shift would each have a, manager's not the right word, sergeant's not really the right word, lead,
Dispatch lead,
Dispatch
yeah.
lead.
something along those lines that,
Somebody that has some day-to-day ability to do some things within the dispatch center.
The special duties, like TAC and
EMD. EMD.
EMD and,
Those would, each one would get one of those, each one would have, they'd basically be that frontline supervision for that end of the week. And then it would funnel back into one place where we're trying to streamline some of that command structure. Most agencies we've looked at kind of to sit that way unless they have a full dispatch board, where it's a joint powers board. They kind of run under the patrol divisions of the agencies.
No, it makes sense.
And then realistically with the reclassification, if we done that with Keller, it's going to put in, he has dispatch experience for both the state and for a municipal police department, so he has an idea of what a dispatch center requires and has seen several bigger agencies run than ours, so that gives some ability to funnel the needs and things like that and let them focus back on just the dispatching side of it. We looked at that initial request was to add a couple positions in there to make a supervision spot over there, and then I think that would pull them off the desk, and I think we can do it equally as well, adding that to the patrol captain's division, and letting him manage that, I guess, on the main portion of it, the hire and fire and those type of things, and letting them focus on just dispatching.
so what Ward is saying is they've requested 2 dispatchers, so it'd bring the total to 8 FTEs. But my recommendation, in talking to him a number of times since then, is that we would keep it to 6 FTEs, which is the current allotment. And just realign and reclassify a little bit. So,
Kind of put the dispatchers back in the dispatch places and allow the supervision to be picked up in another place. It's, patrol's a little lighter than the detention side as far as supervision, just in manpower, realistically, so that kind of left a little bit of a hole, making a patrol captain that allowed us to put a little more on him and be able to push that direction and allow us to supervise that as well, and equal it out a little bit more as far as that goes, so there's kind of equal duties and maybe a little more justification of what his position actually does on top of it, right? Like, you want to get your money's worth at the end of the day, so,
taking it from a strainer to essentially some actual pyramid in the command structure,
So
clean it up a lot.
talking, we would rather see dispatchers get paid more for what they do and let them just dispatch and then let the supervision be done outside of there. And that way it also brings them back into our department a little more. They're kind of on their own island right now and they kind of do their own thing and sometimes we know what's going on, sometimes we don't. There's still a division of the sheriff's office and just because they're in a different building, it makes it easy for them to kind of hide away in the corner. This will help bring them back into the loop of everything and keep us all tied together and working as a group and not our own little entities. So trying to just streamline a little bit more on that command side, it definitely gives everybody a little more of a clear picture of what we're doing, what we need to be doing, what each spot is responsible for, and not one guy's getting it all put on them. We don't want it to turn out again where one guy knew everything, done everything, and then
Then he becomes
yeah,
sheriff.
we're up a creek when we lose somebody, right? So it, hopefully this way it'll distribute some of that knowledge around and we'll all be able to do some good things that way.
So the dispatch department looks a little different because I put 911 in it. When I report to the state, I've got to include 911. In fact, now I've got to make 2 different reports to the state. And both of them want me to include dispatch and 911 together, so this worked out perfect. As far as their new equipment, I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah. I can't remember what I put in. I'll figure it out, but either way, it's the basic 911 budget plus the dispatch budget, with the change of employees a little bit. That's all I've got.
I think the main goal for it this year was to, like you set up wages and try to redistribute some things to allow us to do that and get rid of some of the extras in places we've always had them and just streamline everything down and make it more functional, flow better.
You guys did a lot of work.
Give everybody a place,
Yeah, you guys done a lot of work on this.
and then it just seems to work a little better when everybody kind of has their own lane to stay in per se, and you're responsible for this, is what you're expected to do, and then it just funnels up and down from there.
Yeah, these boys did phenomenal.
Do you guys have any other questions?
I just want to, comment on the fact that there was a lot of work went into putting this together, and I've only seen one prior, because that's all the longer I've been in this chair, but I'll tell you, this was different, way better.
I know it's a hot topic over here as far as what we spend and how we spend it, and whether it's been necessarily appropriate for several years and what it actually takes to do cops. I mean, they're expensive. We don't necessarily make money for nobody, but we're necessary evil at the same time, right? So at the end of the day, it's gonna cost money, and we're expensive. We tear stuff up, we cause these things, but at least try to give a little more clear picture of where we want to put money and why we wanna put it there and what our goals are more than just the end of our nose, I guess.
Look at just what it costs to outfit a cop, just the belt that we wear and the gear that goes on, it's about $600. I mean, it's about $600, just the belt and the holster stuff. That doesn't include gun, taser, body camera.
It's just that
That's
whole.
just
Your best is what, $2,000?
It's pretty
Your
close
best
to
is
that.
$2,000?
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not cheap to operate. It
And
really
and with
is.
that, in writing up all the proposal, we wanted that transparency to be there. I mean, we wanted those, we wanted those numbers to be there, not just to share, but at the same time, so we understand what direction we're going, make sure we're going the right direction, make sure we still need to go there, we need to backtrack. And then with that, we were kind of able to do some household items of understanding things that, things that we're good in, so we don't need to talk about for a couple of years, things that we're not using. And so we'll talk about maybe, following the appropriate lines of getting rid of those things, if we're not using them, if they're not a benefit, I mean, but then, again, one thing that I was proud on this budget with and working with these guys with is, we had a lot of asks. With those asks, we hope that we provided a lot of clarity, but then at the same time, I guess an expectation is to kind of see it build off of itself as the years continue on to where, you know, maybe they're wants, but they'll eventually, you can see them working up to the needs as they wear out or as we get to that appropriate, you know, function, so.
When you're inspecting it at the level that you are, then you're measuring it, you know, and when you're measuring stuff as you go, then you're gonna know how high you need to go here and how low you need to go back down here. And that's what creates this balance that you've put together. And without inspecting it like that, you can't measure it because it's just, you don't know.
And with that, like with some of the, I guess we'll call it remodel in the basement, you know, getting ready to gain a quartermaster room and an actual, you know, a new armory room. I mean, having guys that are taking on the extra duty to go through and count out uniforms and count out ammunition and getting the shelves built and just, again, having that so.
Trying to have a better inventory of items to where we know what we have, we know what we need to order when we need to order them, and we know what we can reissue. You know, right now, we've got buckets of pants, and you're down there digging through 30 pairs of pants looking for one. And we want to put them on shelves and make sure that they're all spread out, so you walk in and be like, oh, we need some more 32s. Oh, we need some 36s. You know, we can always have a couple pairs hanging around, that way they can be issued out as they need to and not to where we end up with 15 pairs of 28s and everybody wears 34s.
That only lasts for a couple of weeks, but it's nice when you eat.
The food's too good.
So,
So the, if you have not gone to the jail basement in a while, you really should. It's really improved significantly. Remember, you remember a number of years ago, there was a request to do the basement, it came in at a shocking number.
Yeah.
And we couldn't do it. So instead, phasing it and then having Jim's guys do the vast majority of the work. The movable shelving was the only piece I think they haven't done. And
and we're making some good progress down there, Jim, and this guy's got the armory room and the uniform room put up, just needs doors, and I think the final paint and texture on it. And then that'll allow us to get some detention supplies moved and some other stuff moved around to where the goal ultimately is to get that gym in the back corner of in the building. And then I wanna be able to open it up to all county staff, being able to come in that back door and to use that gym that was purchased with the donation funds and things and use that as a benefit for all of us. I mean, you guys been good with it, keeping up on our health insurance and paying for that. Maybe that's our way of helping continue that, I guess, getting some.
I know it's changed drastically in a year because I was, well, you guys took me down through there when I was over looking at this pod thing before that got opened up and popped and whatnot. It's really changed a lot from the evidence room to, you know, the hallway and then where you got all your exercise stuff and, yeah, it's.
So ultimately, that exercise stuff will move to that side, like it's be the northeast corner, and then they'll put another secure door into our facility to where the access can be gone through this back door out of the parking lot, and then that's all they have access to.
Yeah, not people
The
wandering
gym
around.
is this like
yourself.
standalone little building down there,
Mhm.
and then we're just kind of slowly working through as Jim's got time and we got the cash flow to do it, and he could buy some 2x4s and he stands the wall up, and we just kind of been moving in little phases and build this to move this, so we can build that to move that over here, to trying to strategically move things to where they're ultimately gonna have a home.
Yeah, it's a sign that you guys are actually being productive with your downtime to do that stuff, because that's a hard decision, like, you wanna go organize something today? That's right, that is why I had breakfast this morning, so I can go down and lift stuff around. Nobody wants to do it, but you guys do, that's,
And I recommend coming and looking at that pod.
Yeah.
'Cause I think they did a really good job in there.
so what do I have to do to get in?
DUI.
Right.
Fine.
You
got a hard part, I'll be there.
I'll just, if you meet me over there, I'll walk
Just
through.
knock on the door. It's the easiest way.
You don't have to stay. There's easier ways,
There's easier ways.
yeah, more beneficial possibly.
But no, it looks really nice. They did, the paint
Yeah.
crew did really good, the floors look nice. As soon as the shower fixtures go in, I think those look really nice. I made it very clear, because I do have people in there right now, you mess it up, I am charging you with
Yeah.
criminally, so.
Yeah.
But we have a clean slate to start from, so that makes it
So
then.
they are very aware of if they write on the walls, damage anything, or they're being charged with property destruction, they'll come over here and see the judge, and there's gonna be restitution for it, so. But it's 100 times better than even when I started here.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty. And I don't wanna say that about a jail, but it's really nice.
Really nice.
And, you know, based upon the email we just received back from USM's where he said, you know, thank you with exclamation points afterwards, I mean, that.
Yeah, so while we're sitting here, I sent that email out to them to let them know that pod was open, and the guy in Cheyenne just emailed back saying thank you, and sounds like he's pretty excited that it's opened back up, so hopefully we'll see something out of that.
And hopefully it's a little more clear this year where our future goals instead of just today's goals.
Yeah.
I mean, want to at least work a progress on it and not just what the hot thought is for the minute. And then 30 seconds from now, I change our mind and we're going a different direction. So I want to try to find a path forward and figure out what's beneficial for us in the county and
Try and
work
keep,
that direction.
try and keep employees.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, John.
Thank you very much.
Next project.
Next project.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mel.
See ya.
Okay, as we discussed earlier, we were gonna look at the final order for the Chugwater
Can't help myself.
project.
It's not raining
You
yet.
gotta lay real eyes on it, don't you?
right.
The Platte County Planning Office, with Rex Johnson and Joey Madsen, legal counsel for the county. We have amended the final order we presented this morning during executive session to reflect all the changes you asked for. In addition, we've numbered the pages of the documents. We've also added a notary. We will retain an original notarized copy here at the county. Nextera will receive an original notarized copy, and the law office for Rex Johnson and Joey Madsen will receive and maintain an original copy. The Platte County records, the Platte County office, with help from legal aid, has decided that it would be in the best interest with the size and uniqueness of this project for Platte County to record this in the land records. So we've also put the appropriate legal descriptions in. Obviously, if someone's doing a land search, it's their responsibility to make sure the memos are of record, but just with the sheer size of this project and the duration of this project, we felt and this is on me. Malcolm does not know. Okay, so anyway, here we go, folks. This is, Cherish Keck will be down, can you get hold of Cherish? She's gonna be in my notary.
Yeah, let's
Yeah, we
take
can't
them up
do all
and
this.
just sit
Yeah,
them first.
So that one is, all three copies are, which one do you have? You have
Yes.
Bess, here's the 3 sets for the SEP, and here are the 3 sets for the WEX. I printed one copy, just made copies. Let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you.
If you were satisfied, it would just be a motion to approve the, I think there's a couple ways you could do it, the final orders as presented, or you can take up each individually, which probably the better idea, just so you can talk about what each order contains for public's information.
I'll trade you.
You trade me. I took the cookie off of that. That's good. I haven't signed it, I just read it.
That's, you got 3 copies of it.
I don't know what'd you just hand me?
3 copies.
This is this morning. This is, yeah,
You got the other.
yeah,
So each one has 3 copies.
Yeah.
I messed them up.
Don't mess up that page, guys.
This out of my, what else I'm getting mixed up, those are MOUs. Yeah,
You got them here?
Steve?
Oh, okay.
This is the next. You get to this. don't you? Yes. I've got 1 copy of the next. That's right here.
Thanks.
That's that one. Yes, Bill. Yes. Are you done with it?
Yes, I think the first one you gave me was best.
There's, I'm looking at this one right here. See if we start.
I got 2.
Yes.
You know, any change from this morning?
No.
Yeah, we see them.
I don't see a problem with any of it right
There's a lot of stuff going on.
now. Well, there's, yeah. But I went to those key points, 32 and 34 and some more. You know, and then the regulations cover that kind of stuff. We talked about how high. I think it does.
That's what they get for hiring small contractors.
Yeah.
More you look over, you go, okay, this is not really done, you know, there's a long. That's been this for quite a long time.
Where did that come from? Previous life, that was a black guy.
Sorry.
Make money.
We found one little typo on the vest real quick. I need to swap out page 7. I'll point out what I did.
Yeah.
Okay, where's, who's got the best
I
spot?
think he's got the best.
Okay, so page 7.
Yeah. That was a lesson learned for sure.
Okay, so right here in the brackets. We can jump in the brackets. The little notation, that's all we took off. And then we're 25, paragraph
Oh, yeah.
25. Okay,
No, so you just put that.
yep, so I'm gonna switch out.
Make mistakes, you know.
The one wants to just.
100%. I'm saying that.
You can pull out. Apologize for the.
I'm glad you found that one.
What?
You do a great job.
Pardon?
And he's just one page, so no, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, you cover something.
Those are not edited copies. Those are not edited copies, yeah, those, you
Yeah,
can,
these are.
no, they're not that, yeah,
I
those are,
understand, yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Bonfire. Oh, I'm sorry, did that come out wrong?
That shit ain't funny.
Commissioner Baker, what pray tell is going on? Pay attention when you're having a drink of a soda next time. Could be wearing it next time, right?
Did you hear that, Miss Cass? Huh? That's good. Steph? You didn't,
I'm
did you?
just biding my time over here, I don't hear anything.
I'm just checking your hearing.
Oh, I heard it, Jeff, don't you worry. Alright, so. Okay. Apologize for that, gentlemen. There you go. Anything else? Say no. Sorry.
That's the best. It's the best. This is slower. That's right. We don't need big ones. You got 3. I do. I don't want one of each. Okay, and we're going individual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Discussion?
Go ahead, make your motion on it for discussion.
All right. In the matter of the application of Chugwater Wind LLC, I move to approve the final order for application number 25-39, special use permit variances for the WEX Nextera for the wind energy conversion system permit. I move to approve.
Second that motion.
No. We can discuss the conditions after that.
Yeah.
I can amend the motion to include the 18 general conditions and the 5 special conditions.
I would second the amended motion on the conditions.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the special use permit application for NextEra Energy, the final order, permit number 2539, SUP variance, WEX NextEra, with the 18 general conditions and 5 special conditions. Is there any further discussion? Those 18 conditions are the same in every application. So, do you have any questions, concerns, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
If you want to have everything written down, you forget to say what you need to say.
Okay, we'll move on to the solar application.
In the matter of the application of Chugwater Energy Center LLC, the application number 2538, SUP SEF NextEra for solar energy permit and special use permit, I would move to approve the final order with 18 general conditions and 1 special condition.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the final order for the special use permit for NextEra Energy for the application number 2538 SUP SEF NextEra. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And then we have the final order for the BESS application.
In the matter of the application for Chugwater Energy Center LLC for application number 2537, SUP rezone BESS for NextEra, I would move to approve the final order with the 18 general conditions and the 10 special conditions attached.
I second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the final order for the application for the NextEra BESS system. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries.
So I will need each of you to sign and, when it's all signed, so all 3 of you sign, Malcolm will sign, and then Cherish will notarize each of the documents.
Does these have to be blue ink because they're originals as opposed to black?
Doesn't have to be, if you prefer blue, I can, do you have a preference? Would you prefer blue?
Okay. Jeb, use what you have.
There we go.
Better
Make
be
your
blue,
mark.
'cause I'm already.
It's gonna be a Crayola.
Put your mark on it.
If anybody prefers the blue, I can go grab some of it.
Oh, I got time.
Okay.
I can get along, I think. It's giving out on me. Jeez.
Buying a house.
That you gotta sign it this way.
Okay. Jeez, please.
Did you sign that? You didn't get this one.
No. Can't scribble.
This is like going to the bank.
I'm just gonna buy a house.
I know.
I kind of want to do that,
We done yet?
It'd be a tough one to figure out which one's which.
Double down.
I got Wex, solar, S, solar,
Oh, he created one.
I was redacting public records during.
Less than it's one.
Okay.
So that's just making.
Do we have any further business?
I think that's plenty for one day, personally.
personally. Mama didn't raise a quitter. Round two, please.
Okay, cheers.
If I'd have started chewing gum this morning, you'd have a rough by now.
That's right. I didn't know what we were doing.
Is it raining yet, Jeff?
I'm sure there's somewhere, but not outside right now.
We will consider ourselves adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.